Hello everyone, this is another video about Velmaaral. In the past, I have shared the recitation of Velmaaral, the background about it, and the illustration of each verse through paintings. I hope you have checked them out. If you have not done, please check them out and please do let me know your comments and feedback and share your thoughts and experience so that I can also learn more about it. In this video, I want to share my journey of learning Velmaaral. I thought it will be useful for others who are learning it. 4 years back, as we were preparing for a Pangani Uttaram event, I heard about Velmaaral from a friend and started researching on it. And the first two important tools that I used or referred to were one, kaumaram.com. That's a wonderful site for any reference on Tiruppugal. So Kaumaram is the path of following Lord Muruga. So anything related to Muruga, Tamil literary works you can find there. And so from there I learned the meaning and looked up on YouTube and saw a video by Sri R. Valayapettai Krishnan. So then I thought, why not take it up as a challenge to chant it for 48 days. And soon a few of my friends also joined, and that gave the motivation to go on. Initially, it seemed like all tongue twisters, but within 2 weeks, almost all of us got to recite it or chant it properly. As I've said in the previous videos, Velmaaral is based on Vel Vaguppu, and 4 repetitive cycles or 4 rounds of Vel Vaguppu, which consists of just 16 verses. And all you need to learn is those 16 verses to chant the entire Velmaaral. It seems long and big, but its base is just 16 lines. Within like a few weeks, almost all of us could recite the entire verse if we knew just the first word of it. So I prepared a cheat sheet like this. There is an interesting memory associated with this. After 48 days of chanting, I was pretty familiar with the words and verses, but still I could not recite it without seeing. But if the first set of verses were given, I could write the entire Velmaaral without seeing, because of the pattern in which the Velmaaral verses progress. So I was waiting at my daughter's concert, and they gave a booklet like this with the names and songs. So on the back side of it, I started writing this and made this cheat sheet. And henceforth, I started using this as a reference sheet for chanting anytime, and I sent a picture of the same to my friends who also found it helpful to chant. In this video, I thought I'll cover 3 things which might help as mnemonic codes or help in memorizing and learning the Velmaaral verses. The first thing is how the Vel Vaguppu verses transform into the first round of Velmaaral verses. The second thing is the pattern of the Velmaaral progression, or how the second, third and fourth round of the Vel Vaguppu verses move or progress with respect to the first set of 16 verses. And the third thing we will see is what I've been trying to figure out for almost 4 years. Finally, I think I've got some form of a yantra. I was always intrigued by how Velmaaral verses could have been formed from the Vel Vaguppu verses. I've heard that Sri Sachidananda Swamigal was under a spell, like some mantra, and he was trapped in it. And he chanted the Vel Vaguppu verses in this pattern of Velmaaral, and he got freed from it. I was wondering how he formed it, or what was the logic behind this formation. There was a logic behind second, third and fourth sets of verses with respect to the first, but how the entire thing was kept me always puzzled. So I started writing down the number of the verses with respect to the Vel Vaguppu verses for each one, like this. And I saw that there was some kind of complementary numbers. The middle one was always 8. So each of the lines were complementary, and within the set it was complementary. So something was going on there. But still it was not like one pattern which would be easy. Then I remembered my brother's tip to solve jumbled words. He used to say, write them in a circular fashion and then you will see the patterns, or you'll be able to see the words better. So I decided to do the same for this, and this is where I reached. So this was my rough work, and this is where I got, and I think it looks like a yantra, but still I don't know if there should be some other spiritual explanation which I'm not aware of. If anyone is aware and has seen anything like this anywhere, please share it with me. I'll be happy to learn. We'll see the animation of this in the next video. In this one, we'll see the animation of the first two things. We'll start with the animation of the transformation of the Vel Vaguppu verses to the first 16 verses of Velmaaral. Here it goes. So the first row from left to right becomes the first column top down, and then we move to the fourth row from left to right becomes the second column from bottom upwards, and then we move to the third row from left to right, which becomes the third column again bottom upwards, and then we have the only row left, that is the third row from left to right, which becomes the fourth column from top down, just like the first one we had. So now if you read from left to right, it becomes the first 16 verses of the Velmaaral. These colors will help in keeping them in mind. Now the animation of the Velmaaral verses, how they progress with respect to the first set we got. Before going into the animation of the Velmaaral verses, how they change with respect to the first set of verses we just saw, we'll note some key points so that following them will be easy. As we saw in Velmaaral, the 16 verses of Vel Vaguppu are repeated 4 times. Let's call them 4 rounds. The 16 verses can be grouped into 4. So the first 4 will be the neon blue color, the cyan color. The second group will be the neon green. The third group will be the orange, and the fourth group will be the purple. So think of this as 4 families going on a marching band. So within the family, they don't move away from each other. Each family remains together, but the leader for each round changes. So the group of 4 verses each progress forward and backward twice. The order of the verses within the group changes each time, but they move together always. Remember, they are one family. The first verse of Velmaaral is same as the first verse of the Vel Vaguppu, and thereafter, if you notice, the fifth will become the second verse in the Vel Vaguppu. So every fourth becomes a verse from Vel Vaguppu. So all these are mnemonic codes which we can use when we are recollecting the verses. So you can notice that the leaders in the various rounds for each group are actually the verses of Vel Vaguppu in the same order as in the Vel Vaguppu. Make sense? So now you can see how the lines move in the first round of Velmaaral. So here I have just given the first word of each verse. They are moving in the same order as shown here. You can see the arrow moving with the verse. So they are like first Paruthamulai, then Tiruthaniyil, then Solarkariya, and so on until Salathu Varum. So this is our baseline. So for the next rounds, we will see how they progress with respect to this. So now we move 15, then 16, then go back 13, 14, but still within the family we are starting backward from the purple family. Next will be the orange family. Again the same order, 11, 12, then move up and 9, 10, and now we move to the green family, 7, 8, and then 5 and 6. Finish this round with the cyan family. And we are done. And we move to the third one. Third one is very easy and straightforward. 4 at a time. So now we are moving forward with the families. So starts with the first blue or cyan family. So that is 4 to 1, then 8, 7, 6, 5. Then now we go to 12, 12, 11, 10, 9. And then again we go to the last one, the purple family. And within the family also it's going backward, 16, 15, 14, 13. Now the final round. When you are memorizing, I think this is most difficult to keep in mind because the order varies a lot. One more thing to notice here is the transformation of first to second is same as the third to fourth. But since we are doing it with reference to the first one here, it is 14, 13, then 16, 15, 10, 9, 12, 11, 6, 5, 8, 7, 2, 1, 4, 3. Personally for me, it helped to keep in mind that the leaders in the last round are actually the last row of Vel Vaguppu, which are all the red rows. Thiraikadalai is the starting. One more thing you would notice is all of those leaders start with the E sounding letter. Thiraikadalai, Thisaikiriyai, Sinattaunar, Tiruttaniyil. So write it down for yourself to make your own cheat sheet. That will be very good to memorize. And while all these things help us recollect, for the first 3 years I could never recite it without seeing. But this year, with the motivation from 2 of my friends who had already recited from their memory, I also thought, okay, why not give it a try? So all these tools help to recollect the verses, but then to chant them without saying, it's just a old school method of just repetitive chanting, or that by heart thing, ratta. Hope this video was helpful and you also benefit from learning more of Velmaaral. And the journey continues. I wish everyone a successful Velmaaral chanting.